A 22-year-old guy from Netherlands converted to Islam, and he made a beautiful video using animation and visual effects sharing the reasons why he converted to Islam specifically, although there are 4,500 religions or more on planet Earth.
Which one is the true religion?
And I found this very interesting to reflect on because I'm on a journey to understand life, as you know, and I'm trying to answer the mysterious questions which he shared in the video. Who am I? What is the meaning of life? What will happen to me after I die? What to believe? And so I'm going to share my reflections on his video, and at the end of the video I will share a shocking surprise that I really didn't expect. I'm Theresa Khalil. I'm a writer, a documentary filmmaker from Egypt. Spent most of my life in the Arabic world between Saudi Arabia and Egypt and other Arabic countries. And so you may say that the religions that I am most familiar with, number one is Islam, of course, and number two, Orthodox Christianity, because it's the religion of the majority of the minority Christians in Egypt. So in the video he said that there are about 4,500 religions in the world, and he chose Islam.
I made my decision. As a blonde European man of 22 years old, I found Islam as my true religion.
He said, I found Islam as my true religion, and I like that. I like that he said it is my true religion, because he didn't say I found Islam is the true religion. No, he said I found Islam is my true religion. And because I'm someone who on a journey to understand life, and I started this journey with a documentary film where I met Wang Zongyang. I will leave a link to the documentary. It's 30 minutes. You can check the beginning of my journey. And later on, I started meeting people who changed their beliefs from any belief, any religion, to any belief and any religion. Okay, I'm not focused on a like you see, for example, there is a channel for conversion to Christianity, or there is a channel for conversion to Islam, or there is a channel for conversion to Krishna consciousness. No, my channel or my journey is open to all possibilities. And whenever they convert to a certain belief or religion, they would say that it's their true religion and not try to enforce it on other people or present it as the ultimate truth.
Islam, for the past few decades, has been the fastest growing religion in the world.
Another thing he said in the video, that Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world. And you can just go to Wikipedia and check, and you will see that Islam, yes, is the fastest growing religion, or it's expected that it will grow more, but because of the fertility percentage. Okay, so it's known that in Islam, people have a lot of children, and that's not because of the conversion rate, but it's presented in the video as if because he converted to Islam and it's the fastest growing religion, so you may think that everyone is converting to Islam, but that's not why it is the fastest growing religion. And I don't mind that if you defend your belief or religion and state facts that is clear and understood for everyone. But what I don't understand, it was someone lie about the facts or present the facts in a twisted way that make people think something that is not true. So with this, I don't agree with that point in the video. So let's go over how did he choose from 4,500 religions, he chose Islam. How did he do that?
You can't look into them one by one. So I had to use logical reasoning and a process of elimination to filter them and find out if there is a true religion at all.
So the idea is that he started filtering or sifting through all the religions, but instead of going on over all of them, he just selected the most famous and known ones. And that's, for me, not a good methodology to research, you know? If you just ignore religions and beliefs because you don't know about them, and because they are not famous enough for you, that's not how people look for the truth, right?
three religions that were left: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam.
And that's why in the video he didn't mention, for example, the Baha'i religion. It is one of the religions that also believe in God, because he was mentioning that the first question he said, or he was looking for an answer for, is there a God? Okay? So he eliminated all the beliefs and religions that doesn't have a God, like for example, Buddhism. But what about Baha'i? They also believe in God. It's not because you don't know about them or that there is not many followers of them that you just skip it, you know? And I have on my journey to understand life, I met someone. I will leave a link to the episode on the scrapbook of life. She shared her story and how she converted from Judaism to Baha'i. When he finally settled on three religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, the most famous religions ever, we call in the Arabic world the Abrahamic religions. And he said that he looked into Judaism and he found that he can't join, you know, because it's whether you are born a Jew or not. And how is this like an indication that Judaism is not the right religion? Like, just because they will not take you, it means that this is not the right religion?
But worshipping him as a human with arms, hands, and legs didn't felt right.
Also, another weird thing he said in the video is that he's coming from a Christian background, and it just doesn't make sense to him that Christians believe in Jesus with arms and legs and all that. And I was like, how is it possible that you are coming from a Christian background and you simplify the belief of Christianity and saying that those people believe in a man with arms and legs? And like, don't you know that the Christian belief says that God wanted to forgive the people, so he came down in the flesh, and he died on the cross in order to save humanity. This is how you should say things. Like, even if I don't agree with the belief, I should represent it the way that it is, like how its followers believe in it, and not make it in this simple, sarcastic way. But it is a common thing in Islam to look at Christianity and say that, oh, those people believe in a person who go to the toilet, for example. Yeah. So yeah, I understand where it's coming from, but I didn't think that he would say that if he's really coming from a Christian background, because probably he knows what Christians believe in. So the question that he's trying to answer on his journey to find the true religion: does God exist? What is the purpose of the human existence? Is there a need for a religion? And is there a holy book? How did he answer, does God exist? He looked at the universe. It's as simple as that. He looked around, and then he saw intelligence.
Observing the universe around us, something we can all see with our own eyes. I mean, what I really realized is sometimes we take it for granted and we accept everything around us, what we see, without realizing how unique and special it is. I've always been so impressed by the scale of the universe, the stars, the planets, but also the simple things on this earth, like trees, water, animals.
So when he was describing what he observed trees, water, the universe, the big scale, you know. And he didn't mention other things, like, for example, volcanoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, diseases, the idea that alive creatures feed off each other. We feed off animals, and animals feed off us if they can. When I was in Sharm, actually, there was an incident that one German tourist was eaten by a shark. But I don't need to give you proof of all those things that happen on planet Earth, because I'm sure you are living with us on the same planet.
The universe is perfect. There are no flaws in it. Every plant, every tree, every animal, everything has its own purpose and is serving something.
But what he was saying is that everything in life is a cause and an effect. And so, if we have this rule on planet Earth then it has to apply to everything in the world. And I don't think so, because when you go, for example, on the atom level, you will find that they have their own laws, they have their own rules that we don't have here in our big scale. So they found that the electron behave in a way that big objects don't behave in our world, right? This level of atoms has a totally different life of its own. So assuming that because in our world there are those laws and cause and effect, and it should apply to everything in the universe, that's not true. That's not the case. And back to the point of intelligence, how do you think there is intelligence when there are all those catastrophes and disasters that we thought previously that they were a God who was angry with us, but then we discovered that they are natural causes, you know, like the earth shake, and we looked into the earthquakes, and we found why this is happening. And we can even predict the earthquakes, you know, we can predict storms. But of course, this will not save you, because there's a lot of things that beyond your control, and there were just fires in California, you know. So how is this intelligent? Like, this is what I want to know. Assuming that there is intelligence, and that's the way I will answer if there is a God or not, it doesn't make sense. Because if there is a God who's making the tsunamis and earthquakes and feeding animals of each other and all that, then probably he's not a good God, right? There is a possibility that he's very cruel. So I feel that he looked at the universe, observed it, and ignored everything bad in it, you know? He just says, oh, trees, big universe, animals, beautiful. Oh, that's probably there is a great intelligence, and this means there is a God. I don't see this as a good reason for answering, is there a God or not? And I'm not saying there is no God. I'm not saying there is a God. I'm just following his logic and trying to see if it makes sense. And unfortunately, it doesn't make sense.
A laptop, it comes with a manual, right? The manufacturer explains what they developed and how to use it in the best way.
Then we come to the idea of the holy book. Okay, is there a holy book? And his reasoning of why the answer is yes, and there is a holy book, is he said every laptop comes with a manual, and every product in the supermarket has labels that tells you what is inside and how to cook things, you know. And this comes from someone who actually maybe is living in this era, and he had no idea how life was before inventing laptops and before having supermarkets. So for me, my grandfather, he had a small shop, and he was selling products in the maybe 50s and 60s. And actually, the shop still exists till now, but it's totally different than how it was before. He had oil, he had rice, but they had no labels. They had just a stamp of the name of the product, if there was a name. And before that, even before the era of my grandfather, there was no such a thing as manual. Like, if you look at humanity histories, there were no manuals. What is this silly example that you are giving? Like, for every laptop, there is a manual, so humans probably should have a manual as well. I'm sorry, I'm not saying that, please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you should not convert to Islam. I'm not saying Islam is not or could be your true religion. I'm just saying that this reasoning just doesn't make sense, and it's really provocative. How and wait for the big shock at the end of the video. And the other thing is, if the creator of this universe would send a manual, why would he wait for us to invent writing and reading and then think of sending the manual? What about other humans who were living before that? Before the era of having books and reading and writing.
That have a real conscious mind, free will. A cow is just eating grass all day.
And then he talk about animals and how they don't have a conscious. And he say the cow is just eating grass all day. how do you know how the cow is perceiving life? Why you look down on the animals? So I just felt that this is not true. I know we had a dog, and I would see the dog while he sleep, for example. He's like moving his legs, and I know that he's dreaming, that he's running, So probably animals have similar perceiving of life like we do, but maybe, yeah, they are not capable of doing what we are doing. But just saying that they don't have a conscious, they have, but they have their own kind of conscious. What is the meaning of life in his view? The answer is we are here to be tested. We are here to be tested, okay? And that's why there are evil. This is why God is hitting us with tsunami and volcanoes. And although when we looked into it, we know now the reason of why this volcano erupted, or why this tsunami hit, or why this earthquake happened, We are here to be tested. And that explains all the evilness that you see in life. The question is, and what is the point of this testing? Like, why we are being tested? Of course, there are a lot of answers, like, oh, we are being tested because, for example, in Islam, you are being tested so you know if you are going to heaven or hell. But so what? Like, let's say I went to heaven, or let's say I went to hell. So, like, what is the point? What is the point of going to heaven or going to hell? But there are other people, of course, and other beliefs and religions who say we are being tested to grow and to learn, and to learn to what extent? Until when? Until what we are supposed to grow and learn? Yeah, and he mentioned this point, like we will learn through all those hardships. And do you think we would learn if we didn't have all the suffering and the hardships? And my answer is, if you have great imagination, like I have, you would definitely be able to imagine a world where you can grow and learn without suffering and pain. But because your imagination is so limited to the reality that you are living, you just think that it can never be in any other way.
Humans need disciplines, principles, and guidelines in this life.
Then he said that humans need discipline and principles and guidance. And I don't believe this is for everyone. Maybe it is for him, because what I got to know from his channel and when he answered personal questions is that his life was, alcohols, drugs, partying, girls, or, he's living in Netherlands, the most free country in the world, I went to Netherlands. I was attending the ETFA Film Festival, and I stayed with some Dutch people, couch surfing. And they are so proud of how Netherlands is the most free country in the world, where drugs is allowed, prostitution is allowed. And so you grow up in such a country and you try everything available, and then you say, oh, you know what? I need discipline. For me, for example, I didn't need discipline. My mother was all the time saying that I am so, I always do the right thing, that she didn't feel the need to guide me or to raise me on what to do, what not to do. Like, I was already well behaved, okay, by nature. And I never thought of smoking, for example, because I look at it and I knew that I don't need to smoke to know that it's harmful, to know that it's disgusting. I didn't need to have casual relations or random sexual relations, because I knew that it's meaningless. And it just, not everyone needs someone to tell them what to do, what not to do. Not everyone needs discipline. But if you need discipline, I totally agree that Islam is the right religion for you, because I already met a guy who converted to Islam on my journey with the Scrapbook of Life, and it's the second episode, I think, in the podcast. And if I'm about to make a video on what I like in every religion, I would say in Islam, I love the discipline. And I think Islam can be the true religion for people who need discipline. But don't assume that everyone on planet Earth need discipline. I would agree with you that there are a lot of people who need discipline, okay? And the people who don't need are very few. Just take into consideration that not everyone needs discipline, okay? Not every human being. There are human beings who are wise, who are mature, even if they are young. But yeah, coming from such background, you need discipline in your life, and you found it in Islam. That's great, you know? What I got to know about myself when I looked into something called the Enneagram, that I'm Enneagram type 5, and those people are like observers of life, and they just sit on the corner thinking and observing. They are probably philosophers, and if you want to know more what kind of character you are and you want to try the test, I have the best test of the Enneagram I shared in a video before.
Barber says, I don't believe in God. So the religious man remains quiet and waits for a few seconds. And then he says, I don't believe in barbers.
And he mentioned this example of the barber as a proof of the God existence. Is like if someone is saying there are no barbers because there are people who have long hair, then this doesn't mean that there are no barbers. It's just this person didn't go to the barber to cut his hair, right? And I think, yes, that's how many people are doing, you know? Because we are so weak in this life, and we know that a lot of things are out of our control, we are looking for the barber because we have very long hair, okay? So I don't agree with the idea that God is there. It is so clear. The right way is so clear, and you just can't see it because you didn't go. You didn't go to God. No, I think everyone would want to find God, because as long as life has suffering, as long as we feel weak, we need to find answers. We need to understand what is this experience of existence. And everyone is truly, honestly looking for a God. Maybe not for guidance and discipline, but for understanding, for answering the mysterious questions. Because there is this idea also in Islam that people know the truth, but they just don't want to follow it. That's like so, it's such a sad statement, because this makes you feel like upset and maybe sometimes angry towards people who don't agree with what you agree, because you believe that they know that you are on the right way and you just don't want to follow them. Okay, so you become like, it just make you more angry. It doesn't make you understand the other. That's the problem. So and he mentioned it in this video when he said, there is this God, there is the God, but people don't go to him, you know? Everyone would love to find God, and everyone find his own God, you know? And then he talked about the idea, if you have the ability to guide yourself, which he doesn't say, of course, he say that everyone is lost. Everyone is lost, and you have this manual in a holy book that will guide you and show you the way of life. If you refuse to follow this, then this means that you are like having a laptop and refusing to read the manual or learning how to use it. And of course, this is the source of catastrophic problems we have in the Arabic world, when many people are being like, there is something that's so clear that needs to be done, and you can't do it because you have a text in the holy book that may be interpreted that you should not do that thing. So for example, when women were suffering a lot because of the divorce, and how a man can just refuse to divorce a woman and just keep her like that, he maybe marry another woman, live his life, and she's just staying like that without being able to get the divorce. And then they were thinking, okay, so maybe we can give the woman the right to divorce as well. And that took a long time until they found a holy text in the hadith that would support the idea that a woman can divorce herself, you know? So this is, yeah, like if you depend on a book, on a holy book, to tell you or show you how to live your life, and you make this on a bigger scale, it will be with all the problems that you may see in the Arabic world. But not even in the Arabic world, also in other, I mean, even in the Western world before, when they were depending on a holy book.
And you see this happening in life as well. So many different opinions, so many different things. And a religion provides global principles, disciplines, and guidelines.
And he said without the religion, people will have different opinions and different views. And the religion gives a global view. And that's also another catastrophe, is when Islamists, for example, they take this and they apply it and they stop anyone from sharing his opinion or view. And it's only the global view of the book. And an example of that, Afghanistan. So I see that this guy, he's like a young Dutch, you know, and he's so impressed with those ideas that are new to him. And this is something I found on my journey to understand life when I meet people who change their belief, is that usually people are so fascinated with the grass on the other side that is more green, because they, you know, when you grow up with something, it doesn't really fascinate you much as things that are coming from other far cultures. For example, for me, as someone who grew up in the Arabic world, I'm more fascinated with the ideas of the Far East, for example, because it's far. And for him, like going to Morocco, going to the Arabic world and seeing this different, it's for him fascinating, and everything is like shiny and magical. And yeah, I'm glad that he took this step. It's really on his journey to understand life. And I would really want to see him in few years, and maybe in his 40s, for example, and what he think of what he think now. Are you ready for the shock now? The shock. The shock is, as you watch one video, YouTube show you other videos that are maybe similar. And I found that in other Islamic channels, there are other videos exactly like this one. Can you believe that? So I look at this guy and I believe that, okay, this is his, he is a real guy and he has a YouTube channel, and maybe it is true that he converted to Islam. But the disaster is all the reasoning that he put in this video, and I was curious about as someone who's on a journey to understand life, because I wanted to understand his reasons for converting to Islam. Actually, they are exactly copied from other Islamic channels where they do the same thing, starting from the 4,500 religions and how you can sift through them until you reach Islam, and also answering if God exists, and also the manual and the cow and everything, every little thing he mentioned in the video is just copied, or maybe I don't know who copied from who, but the reasoning why I chose Islam is repeated in many other videos of people saying why I chose Islam, in the same order, in the same way.
Asks the question, when there are user manuals even in simple works, is it possible that the creator of the universe, who created mankind and sent them to the world, did not send a user manual that could guide them?
I was so shocked and disappointed because I was looking for his true reasons, not for the reasons that he saw someone else saying. You know, it's like if you meet, for example, 1,000 people converted to Islam, and they all converted because there were 4,500 religions. We sifted through them. We found 3: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And then the manual and the laptop and the cow and the bee. And everything the same, you don't feel that you are looking into a human experience. You feel that you are looking into a robot that is just repeating the same things. But I found that he made another video and he shared why he truly converted to Islam. And the thing is that what he said is that one thing, he was looking for discipline because his life was like, you know, bars and alcohol and drugs and partying and all that, and he needed discipline in his life. And the other thing he mentioned is that he had friends who were Muslims, and it was like a long process that, and I do agree that, yeah, this could be a reason for converting to Islam, because I also met other people who were attracted to Islam because of the community, because of this brotherhood idea, which is very strong in Islam. It doesn't matter what color you are, what nationality you are. Once you say La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah, you just become a brother. And I met actually here someone, but she's a female, and she also converted to Islam, and she teared up telling me about her journey to Egypt when she met other sisters, okay, and the love she felt. So yeah, if I would say why I chose Islam, why Islam is his true religion, number one, discipline. Number two, the community and the brotherhood, which is very, for someone who's like from the Netherlands, it's so charming, you know, because I live in Croatia, for example, and I know it's different from the Arabic. It's different from Egypt, for example, where people are more warm, more, you know, there is this spirit. So again, if you want to follow my journey to understand life and you want a neutral view where I just meet people and document their life story from any religion or belief to any religion or belief, you can follow the Scrapbook of Life on this channel. There is a playlist for it. It started with a documentary film, The Scrapbook of Life, Wang Song Yang. If you disagree with any point I mentioned in this video, feel free to disagree in the comment. And if you agree, feel free to agree in the comment.